Greetings and salutations. Happy early Sunday morning, February the 15th, 2026, 12:04 a.m. And as always, we're following macroeconomics. And on my desktop, we have the workings of George Tritch, who plotted macro movements in 1874. And we can recognize the distinctive pattern that he has built out. And we can plot even further into the future based on the algorithmic pattern that we see here in the chart. And in many places, this just holds true. We know about the dot-com bubble, that's 2000. And we know about the 2008 housing market collapse. And we know about the 2020 pandemic. And we can see, as we look at this, A, B, and C, with A being years in which panics have occurred and will occur again. You can see B, these are good years, good times, high prices, a time to sell stuff. And C, hard times, low prices, good time to buy, the dip, the bottom. And you can always freeze frame and understand that in between the top row, between 1927 and 1945, 18 years, then the pattern, you can see it, 2016, 18, 2016, 18, 2016. And of course, you can see here, as far as the good years, between 1926 and 1935, that's 9 years, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. And you can see when we are here, 2026, it's supposed to be a great year of when things have come up from hard times. So this is a moment in which we can capture some value. However, between 2026 and 2032, 6 years, things are supposed to bottom out, which would be a great time to accumulate or buy. But who would have that liquidity? So this is one of the reasons why we love George Tritch's work with macroeconomics, paying attention to the there's nothing new under the sun pattern. Everything has its rightful place in the season. As we look at the chart, XRP is one we are stacking as we're looking at that as something that has functional utility. We're looking at that as the next Bitcoin. We're stacking this to ride it for a few months, a few years, however this situation plays out. Something that is deeply embedded within a belief system because of the research, the time, the energy, and effort that has gone into this particular cryptocurrency or blockchain that has been definitely demonized and now seems to be coming to the forefront. This is definitely one you want to stack, and for no other reason would I really be interested in having an account with Coinbase, Uphold, Kraken, or Robinhood, if not to collect some of that XRP. And I would always say, everyone under the sound of my voice owes it to themselves to collect and stack that XRP, cryptocurrency. All right. We're on our chart with XRP. And of course, when you have an account with Tradingview, whether it be tradingview.com, the website tradingview.com, or you download the app, and you can have an account for as little as, I believe, $15 a month. That lets you see approximately 10 indicators. And of course, 10 is fine. You don't need to see up to 27 indicators I have here. I just love all of my information. If anything, the raw material that I think people can appreciate are the markets heating up and cooling down. This is in the background of the screen. You can see the colors. I think that's essential to have. I think looking at the trend, the upward and downward movement of the candle patterns being colored, I do like to see the trend. So if I were to take this particular one off, of course, we're defaulting to green and red candles. Green is upward movement, red is downward movement, but it's good to see an elimination of the noise and catch the trend. And so now I've painted the trend of downward and upward movement compared to every so often you see green candle, red candle, green, and that's difficult for people to play the market. I love the support and resistance, the dashed green lines and the dashed yellow lines. And the buy and the sell signals are a beautiful thing. Now, of course, a 6-hour time frame, the information presented because there's always something going on. It depends on the time frame that you're on. You can see buy and sell signals constantly occurring, and not that any one indicator is glorified, but everything in the chart together. You can see right now resistance, the dotted or dashed yellow lines, extends further to the right than support, and it looks like it may have just flashed over, so they're about dead even. But the decision maker on the chart is the sell signal. The buy and the sell signals are really nice. Of course, you don't just look at that, but you look at other things in the chart. And let's go to a 45-minute chart. Everything dynamically adjusts. You can see the trend here. You see some buy and sell signals in there. When you're on an incline like this, usually your buy signals carry more weight. Your sell signals don't last as long. And it's the opposite. When you're on a decline, usually your sell signals have more weight and your buy signals don't have as much value until you hit a reversal and it's time to go down. Then it has weight. We see the markets were really hot here and they needed a chance to cool down temporarily. And now you may be cooling down or you're warming back up again. So whenever anyone is ready and they pay that monthly subscription so that they can take advantage of the information that I see and you see, then this is all a beautiful thing. So notice buy and sell signals, and I can compress time where every candle or bar on the chart represents 2 hours. And you can see just a simple increase here with the buy signal, and take the measuring stick, and it's currently up 13.88%. Not that I would buy and sell XRP. There are many assets to look at, many assets to choose from. That's on Robinhood, Coinbase, Uphold, Kraken. To change or exchange digital assets with the click of a button, to include going back into stablecoins. The information that I'm seeing here is sort of saying, hey, under the radar, there's always the ebb and tide of great times to buy signals if you wanted to dollar cost average and just accumulate, and terrific times to sell if you wanted to buy and sell the market. So as I were to compress time here, you can see that we're on a downward decline. So your sell signals have more weight than the buy signals. But yet, in a bear market, we still have beautiful buy signals in there. And this is so easy to do. And the higher the time frame, the bigger the reward. Not that we always have action, but if you were to go on faster moving charts or lower time frames, you can scalp the market if you wanted to. Now, the support and resistance lines, as we pan and go to higher time frames, becomes more relevant and things seem to make more sense. For example, you can see here the dashed green lines and the dashed yellow lines. You have a floor or a foundation. The dashed green lines extend further to the right than the dashed yellow line. There's 3 of them. The one ends here. You have more of support. And when you have support or foundation, you have room to go up. And if the dashed yellow line extended further than the dashed green lines, then you have a ceiling or a roof, and it's of resistance to get beyond that. Usually when the floor is taken away, you would fall. But right now you have support. And of course you can see the trend here and you see the buy signal. And notice sometimes you get a buy signal and you do dip. But you have to trust in everything you see in the chart. You can see the market is warming up in the background. I can see this green line is above the red line. That's the stochastic RSI. I can see that this white line is above the black line. That's the RSI. Amongst other things in the chart as far as counting cadence. And this is just when it goes back to the 7 videos on Pi Cycle Top Trading YouTube channel, Pi 3.14. Some other things are happening in the chart. And of course, I can always pan to a 10-second chart, which is a learning chart. All the patterns that you see here play out in fast time. Now, every bar represents about every 10 seconds. It doesn't always come in every 10 seconds. But the buy and the sell signals pretty much hold true. This is a beautiful thing. The same thing that happens on a 10-second chart is the same thing that happens on any other time frame. It's just happening more quickly here. For example, you can see this dashed yellow line here. And it extends further right now than the dashed green line. Oh, now they're even. You see that? Now, when one extends further than the other, then you can watch the pattern. You can see the markets heating up in the background. You can see the beautiful buy signal there. You can see that the green line is above the red line. You can see that the white line is above the black line. And there's a sell signal. When it prints, if it slides left, then that would be a great time to exit the market if you were buying and selling, especially on higher time frames where the reward is bigger. And this is basically how the chart works. It's a learning chart. It does teach you. And when you watch a few seconds of this, if you were to have an account with Tradingview, the chart will teach you. We can see that this is slid to the left. We can let the markets cool down and we can look for the next entry point. Some other things are going on in the chart. Of course, that just goes with good training, but it's just letting you know things are happening, even though we don't make an announcement whenever they do happen. Announcements aren't necessarily made. It's just a matter of taking advantage of whatever opportunity you want to gift yourself with. Let's take off the Heikin-Ashi candles and wanted to make this one just nice and short. 2026 is a boat that I do not want to miss. So everything is ready. The buy and the sell signals are ready. Everything is ready for 2026 and beyond. And I believe what will eventually happen in 2026, especially when the Clarity Act comes into manifestation, becomes law, then we'll see a serious incline in certain digital assets, along with some ups and downs. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down, even though sometimes we do see a trend. Let's just look at the monthly chart. Let's say someone wanted to ride the buy and the sell signals on the monthly chart. And not everyone can wait that long, but you can see how large the rewards could be. Just notice the trend. Green is up, yellow, green is up, yellow. And you have some wicks here. The price got as high as, but was quickly sold off and landed there. And look at this wick here. People were selling, 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 and the price got as low as, you can see to the right of the screen there, about 78 cents. Then was quickly brought back up to $2.49 or so. And then the next month came in. And of course, other things are talking in the chart. We have the 1 and the 3 death cross that ushered in the 2 and the 6 death cross that paints the candles from green to yellow, indicating a downward trajectory. We have a beautiful sell signal here. You can see the market's cooling down in the background. And currently you see the dashed yellow line extends further to the right than the dashed green lines. So your floor has been taken away and you have been in a downward trajectory. You have support at this price pattern here. And you have resistance at this price pattern here, $2.45 or so cents. So that's higher time frames, but people sometimes can't wait that long. And what I really meant to do again is just to show whenever you get an impulse on a candle or a trend, follow the trend to glory. Not that you have to be in the markets. I'm trying to find the top of the wick. That's 275% there. It's the top of the wick there. It's 467%. There's a top of the wick here. 555 or so percent. That's a 5.5x. And that is something that is a blessing. In as little as 61 days, whenever we get the impulses coming in, no one makes an announcement because different people are in different assets, doing different things, trading on different timelines. And everyone is different. As we pan in to look more closely, the chart dynamically changes and adjusts to what's happening on the 2-week chart. Notice we're not just moving in closer with a microscope, we're moving in to more detail, more information. And we're waiting to catch a beautiful turnaround. Everyone can see that. And look at this buy signal here, just for a 2-week period here. When the buy signal comes in, 51%. And you can always let the price drop and then get right back in from here to here. That's another move. Bottom of the market, top of the market. 21%. And so the reason why I find relevance in the platform, this is not a trading platform. Tradingview is the coach's playbook. It could be used to dip into Robinhood or Coinbase or Kraken. There are a few selected platforms it can reach into like that, but I don't necessarily have that set up automated in an automated sense. But the TradingView platform, the programs are ready, the scripts are ready, the buy and the sell signals are ready. And realistically, no one's probably going to be using all of these indicators that I've built and I'm using. But I'm waiting on a turnaround on the higher time frames because the reward is going to be epic. I'm just panning through. There's a buy signal there, sell signal there. things are beginning to turn around. You can see the markets warming up in the background. I mean, now is somewhat of a good time to get in. And if we just look at from here to where the current price point is, knowing that every bar is for 4 days, um, 33%, 12 days. This is why we're in the markets. And even though you don't have a buy signal here, you can still read what's going on at the same time. Everything is a risk. So you never risk more than you can stand to lose. On a 2-day chart, you can see the buy signal there. Now, a lot can happen in 2 days. Just like we saw in that 10-second chart, a lot can happen in 10 seconds. Things can change. But the signals are there. An announcement is not necessarily made. When you're ready, we'll load these beautiful buy and sell signals on your Tradingview account so that what I see, you see. And what I take advantage of, you possibly, out of so many assets, will possibly be taking advantage of that thing or looking at something else. And the idea, the thesis, is to take 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 and retire, compounding your own interest and living off of the interest, amongst other things. That's just one thing. You always have something you stack and hold over a prolonged period of time because of your belief system. Then the beauty of trading on beautiful buy and sell signals are really nice. Now you can probably look at this piece of the chart and your mind, if you were to investigate, research, will talk to you about what is going on in the chart. You can see the markets warming up in the background for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And you can see we're in a beautiful trend of green, which is nice. You see the buy signal there, somewhat of a dip, and that's what you have to be. You have to be able to stomach the ups and the downs. Since this is one I accumulate, I don't care what the price is. At $1.55 compared to where it has been in the last few months, it's a great buying opportunity. I mean, this thing got as high as $3.63, $3.65. And so if I can get almost two for the price of one, I don't mind. The beautiful buy and sell signals are there, and it doesn't really matter what someone else says in the news about a certain asset. You get to the point where you see beautiful buy and sell signals for yourself, and no one has to tell you anything. You don't have to read certain news articles or anything like that, even though there are some beautiful projects and I like to stay afresh and abreast on what some projects are, but the chart talks to you. It's a learning chart. So we'll end back on that 10-second chart. We'll just let some of the chart play out. And just let this beautiful algorithm talk to whoever wants to look. Can you see the resistance now is greater than the support? The thinking that happens within 10 seconds, even though we don't always have 10 seconds every bar. But you can see the charts talking to you. I'm looking for this thing to cool off or drop here in a second, unless a change comes. Now, just that simple, predictable move that I did in a few seconds about the drop or the change that came, imagine on a different time frame, just being able to look at the chart and over a prolonged period of time with a high level of accuracy, just being able to predict what's going to happen next because the computer is doing the calculations. It's just a matter of if anyone wants to play this game. All glory due to the electronics of the computer doing the work and programming language and syntax of PineScript assisted by AI. And we can definitely increase our probability of gaining some increase. And it's almost like cheating, you know. Trading should almost feel like cheating as long as you hone in and study your craft. We're going to let the indicators do the work, amongst other tips and tricks that I have that are not necessarily built into an indicator, but the more you see, the better your decision can be regarding certain assets that you look at. Everybody's waiting for the beautiful turnaround on the higher time frames. And of course, we can go down for a little bit. You know, a lot of people demonize when things are dropping or when prices are going down. But if you're in a good project, if you believe in the information you read, the white papers, if you're in a particular stock, or if you're in something, then naturally you would research around that piece to make yourself better, because you don't want to fall in love with any particular asset. You know, you want to make sure you are staying abreast and doing your due diligence. And it's like exercising a muscle. You know, you may come out the gate really hard in research on a particular asset to find out if you should or if you shouldn't. And when you find something is definitely a long-term hold, you know what, I'm going to hold this thing for 5 to 7 years. And I think as those months and years go by, this thing is going to return some rewards or dividends. You know, I don't have to worry about it. I just have to guard it and protect it and not necessarily forget about it. As far as day trading, not that I would adopt the idea of day trading. But the chart is there to encourage you on whatever your endeavors may be. We know things can drastically change and go the other way. And I've been looking at this thing just increasing over time. You know, there's some ups and there are some downs. If I were to compress time, right? I'm really compressing time here. And you can see just a long-term downward trend. And you know what? I don't mind if this thing goes down a little more. I'll dollar cost average on the way down. I'll buy for long-term hold on the way down. I don't want to buy at the top. I don't want to buy when it's time to sell, right? So these are really good signals. And again, Whoever is ready, whoever is ready, whenever you're ready. And by the time you hear about something on the news, we always say it's probably just a little bit too late. Retail is what we call the average citizen in the United States, has just become someone's or an institutional's exit liquidity. You don't want to be someone's exit liquidity. So right now, during this long downtrend, institutions have been buying up digital assets, and they'll excite the news media. They'll pay. They'll bring someone on to talk something up. When retail gets in, expect things to drop. Retail will adopt the hype of a thing because they will be too afraid to miss out. And as retail comes in, you'd be like, why isn't the price moving? It's because the institutions are taking profit. So this is what the buy and sell signals are about. It's just a really good time. Now, this here, we don't know how high it's going to go up. We can take measurements and projections and estimates. We can look at various time frames, and we can see markets heating up and cooling down. But one thing sort of holds true. When it's time to exit, you'll feel like you exit at a good time. And everyone's different. Like, I'm looking at the charts every day. Every day. And there are some times I'm like, okay, I need to take a vacation. I need to take a break from the chart. And I'll look away, or I'll do something different, or I'll watch a movie, or whatever it may be. And everyone's going to be different. The responsibility of looking at the chart is just taking ownership on whatever your goals, your dreams, your aspirations are, your plans. But I tell you, a thesis is a thesis. $10,000 paying off the same car or multiple cars, paying off the mortgage, the same $10,000 that you can turn into 15 into 20 just by timing. Same $10,000. That is the thesis. In $10,000, I mean, because you figure, let's just take on this 12-hour chart, let's just take the move here. Even though we see it go up and down and up, but we didn't get a sell signal, let's just take the move here and say we got 10,000 in. Let's say we got in here and we didn't pay attention to the markets warming back up again. Let's just say we got in on the buy signal in the middle and rode it to the price currently. All right. So we see 8 days, 12 hours, 10,000 in the trade. That's $1,142 out. Based on the platform that you're trading on, they're going to take a small percentage. But let's say $1,142 out in 8 days. Now, if you were to do that 2 or 3 times out of the month, if the opportunity presented itself, then you can understand the thesis. Fighting inflation, beating hard times, and just being able to relax in your own skin. Being able to enlarge your tent and expand on projects. Respecting your finances. Taking the pressure off of the grind. Your body will wear out. You'll lose a step or two, but these skills are just comfortable to be able to sit at your computer truly and have a plan, and a plan no one can really take from you. And that's just not even a volatile cryptocurrency. There are some really volatile cryptocurrencies such as Bonk and other digital assets that really move with the markets. The buy and the sell signals are really a beautiful thing. Let's measure this. So it's about the same. But sometimes it moves at an astronomically bigger move than what XRP does. And of course, you have better trades in there if you would have really played the market instead of just a buy and sell signal. There are other things too. We could see this thing may possibly cool off soon, but we'll have to see how that plays out. There are always trades that are available. And this right here looks really nice, right? We can see the time frame that this was in, January the 1st to January the 5th. Beautiful, beautiful signal there. Let's catch it in the middle. To the sell signal in the middle, 34%. That's beautiful. 5 days. When you're catching percentages like that you may not necessarily have caught in the past because you're paying maybe $15 a month or $29 a month for Tradingview, and you're trading signals, and this is a downward trend. You know, it's difficult to trade on the downward trend because your buy signals aren't as strong as the sell signals. You see more yellow than you see green. But imagine whenever the markets turn the other way. Imagine when this thing begins to reverse or go the other way. Everyone's going to feel like a winner, but you want to supercharge your winnings because you'll see the upward trajectory where the blue buy signals will take the preeminence compared to the sell signals. You'll see more green than anything. This is a great opportunity to play the macroeconomics according to George Trich, 1874, the way he built out this thing far into the future. Some things just can't be denied. Some people have a gifting of hacking the matrix. This guy has definitely come through. And so to have a plan, to have a vision or purpose is what we're looking at, because no one likes to be down here wondering. And we can see after 2032, 2034 is a time to sell because 2035 is on the way. And we don't know what that's going to look like. Well, some of us do, but we don't know what that's going to look like globally speaking. But if people are sheep and they follow so blindly or so easily the programming of the day that comes on the news or whatever it may be, then not many people are going to be making it, because these things up here can be very, very tricky. If you were to look at, hard times overall, but you want to play these patterns. You want to always be safe, and the programming, the buy and sell signals, the lines of support and resistance are there. The market's heating up, cooling down is there. You don't need to see a whole lot to understand how you can increase. And that is just a beautiful thing that I wanted to present to whoever is listening under the sound of my voice. And I don't want to speak too long, because the longer I speak, the more the audio becomes disconnected from the video. I need better processing power if I'm going to be doing digital recordings like that. But to each his own. Everyone have a great day, and your boy is here if you need him.